What's up, guys? I just thought I'd do a live to see whoever wants to hop on, talk about some stuff. Man, I'm still getting over a cough though. Unfortunately. But sipping on mate, so hopefully that'll go away this week, man. But I went out this weekend for my niece's birthday. So yeah, I drank a little bit. I probably, shouldn't have, but I did. And yeah, so still trying to get better with my cough and all that. Oh my god, dude, I've tried everything, all the teas and the remedies and all this stuff, but we'll get there. So I'm not 100%, but almost. Uh, and the worst part about being sick is like, at least for me, is like, man, you can't sing. You can a little bit, but like not to the fullest. So, anyways, I got my mate. Actually, I have two going for two different remedies. So, yeah, whoever wants to hop on, hop on. I'm just chilling. Man, this is really potent. Man. Hello, hello, you guys. Let me know who's hopping on here when you guys get on. You guys want to talk about anything specific? Otherwise, we'll just break down the conversation at hand about peace and prosperity, what it means to you guys. Hello, Natalie. Natalie Garcia. Hola. Welcome to the live. Oh, all right. We got a new subscriber here. Yeah. So, hey, buddy, what do you want? You okay? You okay? You want to go outside? Okay, go. Oh, we'll go outside in a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, today we're just talking about what peace and prosperity means to you guys, right? Um, oh, my buddy Che. Hey, come say hi. Come say hi. Yeah, he hung outside all day. But the thing is, if I open the door now, mosquitoes will come in. Hey, where you going? Where you going? Yeah, mosquitoes will come in. So we'll go out in a little bit. Hey, go, 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 go. Go. Believe me, he hung out outside all day. Yeah, he is. He's my friend. Yeah. So Natalie, where are you from? Are you American? Amber. Hello, Amber. Welcome to the live. So we're just keeping this open conversation of whatever you guys or ladies want to talk about. Um, what peace and prosperity means to you, happiness, how you guys go about life, what's your game plan, what's holding you back, uh, or what are your goals? Pretty much anything. And California, okay, nice, nice. Yeah, I'm from Wisconsin, hence the Packers. So yeah. So for me, one of the biggest things was trying to get abroad here where I'm from. Because if you guys don't know my longer story, I was born here in Paraguay. I met my biological family here 13 years ago, and been coming back ever since. And I've lived here now for 14 months. So that's a really or really short version of a long story. Uh, but I always knew I wanted to be here in Paraguay, right, for many reasons. And top number one reason, especially you being out there in California, I'm sure, is cost of living. And if you guys haven't seen my channel, um, or all my videos here, no, one second. So this house that I rented, it's about 3 or 4 videos ago. It's under $400 a month. It's brand new, right? And that's just something absolutely impossible in the states, right? And I know that I am blessed to have online work. Um, what's up, Lo? How you doing, my man? It's good to see you on a live. Yeah, Lo, jump in the conversation about peace and prosperity. Or what a game plan for life, happiness, what holds you back. Let's keep this open. JPG, hello, howdy. Yeah, but for me, one of the biggest things was, on a deep level, reconnecting with my people, right? Uh, Coming here back to Paraguay because, I lived my whole life in the States because I was adopted, right? And I wanted the second half of my life, whenever I could make that happen, which was last year, to see how the second half of my life would be in the country where I'm from, you know? And now I have a lot of videos and a lot of lives that you guys can check out, But, it's been an experience that, yeah, it took a lot of planning and money and all that stuff, but uh is the best thing I could have possibly done, you know? Crazy investor. Today is the day of the Guarani language. Okay, I didn't know that. There's some kind of holiday here all the time. I swear, it feels like it. Like it's the day of the kids, the day of Guarani. It's this day. We have way more holidays here than the states. A lot more, a ton more, right? So yeah, JPG, making my own business, balancing out friends. I'm glad you brought up the balancing part. That was a big point of this, but I'll bring up later. Balancing out friends, church, and work. Easier said than done, but with my parents, it's easier. Without them, I don't know how I would react. Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm really glad about your own business too, because for us younger generations, whether you're a guy or girl, right? Like it's so hard for us to go down the traditional 9 to 5 path and have that one job make it work for us. So we have to do things like side hustles, YouTube, starting businesses, becoming consultants in something like you know, and hopefully that balances out for us to one day be our full time thing. And I was just watching something on YouTube too that it really hit home that past generations really could depend on having one job, right? And we just don't have that privilege. And I know that I sound like a broken record when I say that, but it's so true. It's so true. And I think it's sad because we shouldn't have to work uh, an extraordinary amount unless you want to, right? But it shouldn't be the norm to have 2 to 3 jobs in the states, whether you're in Wisconsin or California, just to make it work, right? And I also understand too, uh, with the exception of some historical things like the Vietnam War, but besides like that, most of or a large portion of past generations were really about the status quo. They could do the whole go to college, get a job, 401k, get a pension, have that work for the rest of your life. provide well for your kids, save up money, save up for retirement, all that stuff. Um, and we just know that that's just not doable, or it's doable for such a small percentage of people. You know, which is why we have to think outside the box, right? But that thinking outside the box, that being an entrepreneur, um, you know, that entrepreneurial stuff that gets pretty exhausting too. I'm not gonna lie, right? Like even right now, like I feel like there's moments where I lose my creative edge a little bit, but I'm still going with this stuff. I'm trying to go live more too because I used to go live a lot more, so you guys can ask me stuff and engage. Um, but I try to be one of those channels too that goes live, so you guys can talk about whatever you want to talk about here. Because when you just do videos, I feel like I'm just talking at you guys. But when I do these lives, like we can talk all this stuff out. One second here. Okay, I got that out of my system. Okay, Low says number one, let go of materialism. Number two, let go of ego. Three, let go of everything you know that was not contributing to your growth. Yes, that's essential, man. Really, truly, especially for us. Um, Number four, find what makes you happy that contributes to your internal happiness. Yeah, yeah, you guys, and it sounds kind of, not to make fun of you, Lo. It sounds kind of guru-ish to say that. It sounds really, and again, I'm not trying to pick fun at you because I say this all the time, right? Um, I'm not guru-ish. What am I trying to say? It sounds so. What's the word? I don't know. But a lot of people say that, right? And it sounds like it falls on deaf ears, but it's true, especially when you get older, man. Because like your happiness is tied right into your health. You know what I mean? Especially like us, like in our 30s and stuff. Like eventually going to reach our 40s and 50s. It's true, and that comes with meaning. That comes with purpose. And like when I was in the states, I was dying on the inside, and it felt like I was dying on the outside. You know what I mean? And still ain't perfect, like in health and all that stuff, but at least like I get to wake up with a sense of like there's something more to life. There's something that I can look forward to weeks out, months out, years out, plan better, uh, feel better, feel healthier. Even things like this, you guys. Even things like this, like you can't even find like remedies, true remedios that you can find here in Paraguay, right? And I can show you guys my whole bowl of remedios. But like Latin America here in Paraguay, it's a really special place for that kind of thing to like find natural remedies to stuff, right? Instead of you guys know in the states like we just like pop pills for absolutely everything, which you still need to for like for like ibuprofen and that kind of stuff too when you get sick, right? But there's a lot of natural stuff too you can do for yourself that is really hard to find in the states, right? And then historically we haven't valued natural remedies in the states and all the pharmaceutical stuff. I know I'm going on a tangent, but but it's true, Um, okay, let's get back to it. JPG, wasn't the average house like three times the average annual salary? Yes, I see that stat all the time. And for us, it's like 20 times. It's like 10 to 20 times, I believe, the average salary now for our generations. The more I think about it, the more it gets me mad, but completely outside of our control. Yeah, yeah, it is completely outside of our control. And, a lot of people pray for the housing market crash. And I'm like, you guys understand what comes with a housing market crash and a recession, right? you guys are gonna lose your jobs. So it's like people are waiting for the wrong things, you know? Like, it's kind of ridiculous, you know? For people who like, oh yeah, we need a housing margin. Like, so you want the whole economy to crash? Because that's not good for anybody, you know, or for jobs or anything. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is, but yeah. Lowe says, give your life a meaning and purpose beyond monetary and materialism. Yes, the older I get, the less I want. The simple things make me happy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Uh, yeah, it's true. It's true. Like even just me hanging with my dog, sipping on tea, like all this stuff, even me having just even relatively financial stability, all this stuff is kind of a luxury that you guys don't really think about uh, until you get to a country like Paraguay. Um, and you realize that not everybody has even some of the things that I got. You know what I mean? I know we're talking about materialism, and I'm over here matched up with Packers gear, but it's just stuff I brought from the states. But I haven't bought one thing of clothing in 14 months. Everything I came with was just from the states, so I didn't come here to go on some shopping spree like a lot of people do in like Paris. I mean, people will spend as much in Paris as I have in the last 14 months. So, you know what I mean? Um, yeah. Okay. Okay. Liz Paola Ortiz. Hola. Hola Liz, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Um, yeah, new no psych labyrinth. Sorry if this is off topic. In your opinion, is 2,500 per month a good income to live in Asuncion coming from online income? Absolutely, that's a great amount of income. You can live great with 1,000 or 1,500, and 2,500. You're doing whatever you want, really, truly, and you can live wherever you want, any neighborhood at that point. Um, for sure. Uh, yeah. Yeah, I broke down I did a budget video where, I put if you're making 1,500, you can live really well. 2,500, you can do anything pretty much. Like you could go out to eat every day if you wanted to. Uh, you could definitely make it work off 1,000. Um, and so yeah, getting into numbers. From what I saw, 1,500 a month is very comfortable in Paraguay. Yeah, absolutely. 1,500 is like that's like kind of the goal. Well, yeah, that's kind of like the expat standard. I would put it at. If you want to like live a good life, and for me, for example, there's some people who think just because I live in San Lorenzo that I'm living like that I moved overseas to not live well or something like that, right? But this place is brand new, you guys. Yeah, and I'm paying depending on what the dollar is worth, anywhere from like 360 to 375 a month. You know what I mean? And this place is wonderful. Like I've never had so much space in my life. My dog has never had so much space in his life. You know what I mean? Um, and so the moment that I tell people that I don't live in the fanciest neighborhood in Asuncion, they automatically think that I'm what's the word? Giving up on my quality of living, but it's not true. I just live in a different area, and and I know where to find good deals. You know what I mean? So so if you really bring down your rent, like I do, but then again, I had to furnish this place over time and my last duplex. But even still, uh, you could live great. you know. Um, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you guys. Yeah, life is a hell of a thing. Kind of changed it into a different topic though. Well, within the same topic, right? Like relationships. Uh, like okay, so I know in the states, right? Especially guys, especially travelers, and the whole red pill thing. Uh, okay, yeah, we'll get back to pricing in a little bit here. But when it comes to relationships, like because there's the whole passport bro movement and the red pill stuff and this and that, and guys and women are divided, and nobody's dating anybody in the states, and everybody has highest standards of to the end of time and all this stuff. People kind of forget to have empathy for the other sex, right? Um, and that goes for us guys too, right? And so like uh when you get really, really red pilled, you can really start losing some sympathy and some empathy for like and context to people's lives, right? So like I'll give you an example. So immediately, right? Say a girl dated a wrong guy, right? You're immediately gonna date blame the girl or the mother for dating the wrong guy, right? But the guy could have been an absolute piece of garbage. You know what I mean? Abusive 10,000 ways over, right? But because in our mind we're so divided that so many guys will immediately say, "Well, it's all the woman's fault. Why did she choose that guy?" But the thing is, like, us guys who have women in our lives are like sisters, nieces, aunts, uh, mothers, grandmothers. Um, you have to take a step back, man, and you have to realize, like, look, sometimes these guys are really, really good at being terrible and very manipulative. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, because I've heard it from every guy from every age, all right? Like, well, it's her fault because she just chose wrong. It's like I get that to a point, but the thing is, you guys like, some guys really need to calm down on that stuff. And the reason I bring all that stuff up is because like relationships go into happiness. So when you go into even just casual relationships with these super hardcore ideologies about men and women, you can really shoot yourself in the foot and you can stop having things like sympathy, empathy, and trying to understand context a little bit, right? Now, it's not to say that you need to like settle or whatever for what you don't want, but at the same time, you need to be more of a human being, right? Because like if you're not being a decent human being, then it's gonna come back to you in a negative way, right? And I've seen this now play out with other people, well, and myself, to be honest, too. You know, uh, you know. So a lot of guys need to just like stop with the ideologies for a second. Be a human being. You know, not everything is white and black and white. There are some things that need to be understood, especially guys coming from the states because they don't even understand the culture here, right? So then they immediately take the states culture and apply it 100% to Paraguay, right, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Um, and it's just not like that, right? Like what a lot of guys don't understand is that a lot of women here, and yeah, it can get frustrating, but like they have incredible commitments to their families that can almost be toxic, right? And they're good-hearted people, right? They're good-hearted young women, right? Who do well by their family, but they shoot themselves in the foot because they almost kind of end up being like their family's caregiver or the nurse or the nanny at all times. You know what I mean? And I've ran into this on a personal level. Um, and again, yes, should that woman realize, that She needs to kind of get out of that role, right? Because I've literally been in this personally myself. I've tried to communicate this to someone like, look, like you have to start living life for yourself, right? But I was a little bit too much. I was a little bit too much with it, and but I know other guys have been through this as well, right? But then that's a very cultural thing, right? Because we're so many times in the states we're so broken from families, we don't value family as much. So that's just one example of a cultural thing, right? Of guys, understand kind of again at the same time, don't pursue anything you don't want to pursue, right? And then there's other things on top of that, like is communication good? Is this good? Is that good? So, uh, the whole relationship stuff, man, is complicated. But at the same time, diving too far into these ideologies can almost make you more stupid, to be completely honest. Because once you do, you latch on, and then you start mixing cultural elements to this stuff. You know what I mean? So, anyways, let's get back to the pricing stuff. Concerned about rental price. I mean, as a single guy, yeah, it depends really where you want to live, man. I wouldn't be too concerned about it unless you're doing Airbnb. Unless you're doing Airbnb, that's when things can get really expensive. But when you're not and you're doing rental contracts, you can really bring down your expenses a ton, right? A ton. So yeah. Okay. All right. Let's get back to comments here. Okay. Also, I noticed living in urban Asuncion, to me felt less constricted and had more superficial people or people with money that stay to themselves. Yes. Places like San Lorenzo seem more down to earth. Yes. Yeah, man. Well, I didn't even need to learn that from any foreigner. Because my family, there's actually sayings here, right in Paraguay, right? That like, uh, so it's kind of funny, right? So like, okay, to map out Asuncion, there's Asuncion, there's Fernando de la Mora, there's San Lorenzo, and then there's Capiata, right? And then so Capiata people think that San Lorenzo people think they're the shit, and then San Lorenzo people think that Fernando people are think they're the shit, and then Fernando people think that Asuncion people think that they're the shit, right? So it's I've heard that since the first time I've came here, right? That like they just think they're the shit because they live closer to the city, right? Um, or the downtown. Like every you guys call downtown Asuncion. I just call it we. Everybody else just calls it the centro, the downtown, right? So like when I say I'm going downtown, I'm going to like where pretty much most of y'all are staying at, like Paseo and the Shopping del Sol and stuff. That whole area, Recoleta, Villamorra, and those places are awesome, man. But this like that's a very very um that's a very touristy side of Paraguay, of Asuncion, right? You still have a wonderful time. Don't get me wrong. I love those areas to visit. In fact, I just was there this weekend with my niece's birthday, and amazing restaurants, amazing vibes still. But you know, if you want more of an authentic experience, if you want to really dive into culture, make sure you're not like uh surrounded by expats all the time. You're gonna want to live a little bit farther out for sure. Yeah. Okay. Um. Yeah. JPG channel reband to my best red pill Paraguay. Girls here are much more reluctant to move in with you. Where here in Paraguay to move in with you? I've had the opposite experience. I've had a lot of girls want to move in with me. Um, God damn, that sounds bad. Not a lot, but a few. Um, at JPG, that can be a problem. Wait, reluctant to? You guys need to clarify this. I don't understand what you guys are saying. Okay. Low. Paraguayan women are very good for the most part, but like anywhere they can be influenced by anything, family, internet, past traumas, abuse. Just take your time when you meet one. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Um. Oh, new psych labyrinth. Yeah, exactly. I searched on Airbnb. Yeah, Airbnb is going to be significantly more expensive. Uh, Now I understand what you're talking about with the whole 2,500. Because to me, 2,500 is like, you could do anything. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, okay. Yeah, Airbnb are mostly investments in Asuncion trying to make a profit owned by people who don't live there full time. Agreed. A lot of apartments are actually empty as you go further in the city. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Okay. Quick question: would I need to move to Paraguay? What would I need to move to Paraguay with my online business documents, etc.? No. Um, if you're making an income outside of the country, you don't need to worry about that. It's only when you're making Paraguay income within Paraguay where you need to start worrying about that, like taxes, or if you were to hire people and all that. That's where you need to start worrying about that. But otherwise, no, you don't need to worry. Low, like Ryan said, private rentals are much better because you can always negotiate, and it's better value. Yeah, no matter what, you need to negotiate for little details here and there. They don't have mirrors, the AC unit, little things like that. Certainly negotiate for. Sometimes you could maybe even negotiate for them to like throw in the water bill or something like that. I'm not the best negotiator myself, but I do know how to negotiate. Uh, it's even beneficial to have a local with you because they'll ask for more, and they'll be less likely to try to screw you over or anything like that. Um, but yeah, yeah, So yeah, yeah. Lo, do you have a YouTube channel? No, you don't, right? I was gonna say you could come on as a guest if you want. Or here, let me see if you can if I can send you the link if you want to come on. Hey, appreciate you, Lo. Please like, share, subscribe, and donate. Appreciate you. Hey, I just sent you a link. I don't know if you're able to join as a guest, but if you want to, you can hop on. Otherwise, if Aaron wants to come on whenever if he comes on here. But yeah, yeah, man. Life is a journey, man. I got off of work, but I really wanted to show you guys the sunset out here in my house because it's pretty blissful, right? But the sun was already down by the time I did this live. So yeah, yeah. People are telling me to go live more and more, and I'm trying to, but we'll see. I'm a rough. Uh, Hello. Okay, I think Lo can join us. All right, let's see if we can do this. Hey, what's up, man?
What up, man?
Okay, it did work. I didn't know if you'd be able to.
Yeah. I was just in the background, like just trying to figure it out because I had to uh like fix the setting on my iPhone and stuff. So
Okay. All right, you guys. Yeah, if you guys don't know Lo, he was here in Paraguay for a couple of weeks. Him and his homie, and they had a great time here. They're staying in downtown in a penthouse, and
right.
I met up with them a couple times, and we had a good time. And if you want to tell a little bit, if you want to just give people a little bit of breakdown of I guess your life and your travels, and then your time here in Paraguay too.
All right. Yeah, so my name is Lewis, but I have it as Low on Louis or however. I never had a full pronunciation for the name that I gave. I just made it simple. But yeah, Louis or Low. Yeah, pretty much. I travel to many places around the world. I've been to more than 30 some countries, and there are a few places that caught my attention. Most places were just for vacation, for fun, and seeing whatever about the country. Um, Thank God, most of the places I actually went before it got hyped up. So I actually got to experience the trueness of some of these places I went to before they got destroyed by over tourism and things like that. So I thank God for that. Um, but mostly the focal point was on South America. And last May, I actually made it down there to Paraguay to actually see what it's about. There are a few countries that caught my interest, like how Paraguay did, because it matches more of my personality. So when I finally got there and I saw it myself, I was like, damn, like this is actually what I like. It was completely different than anything and anywhere else that I've known, and the people were very nice. They were friendly. It was very diverse in terms of just, I mean, not necessarily who visits there, but also like just who lives there in general. Because some places are like, okay, diverse by who is the tourist, right? But and then some other places, there's actually people from other places that actually live there, and then just given the background of the people, somewhere like German descendant, somewhere Italian descendant. So it was a lot of that. So it makes for a very enticing culture, mixed with the native culture that's there, with all the Guarani and all of that. And so, yeah, I really fell in love with Paraguay. There's a lot of good, lot of goods about Paraguay, and also some things that are mid and some things that are just bad. And but anywhere you go in the world, that's just how it is, including here in the United States. So that's a little bit about that. But overall, my
Yeah,
experience has been really good about Paraguay, and I'm planning to come back next month.
yeah. You'll be here in a couple of weeks. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. So you've been over to what, like 40 something countries like that, or something like that?
close 30 some country, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And but Paraguay
So
is stuck as one of my favorite for sure.
yeah. So I mean, so Paraguay definitely has its modern life, its modern luxury, right? Like
Yeah,
anywhere in the city, right? Which is good, right? Because like it didn't have that like 15, 20 years ago. You know,
no, they didn't have that at all.
so it's still like people are just starting to find out about Paraguay and Asuncion and all that. But as long as like you're not craving like the beach or an amusement park every other day or some crazy festival like Lollapalooza or whatever it's called. Like you can have a
Yeah,
great time like visiting, living. It's not like a big showboat place, right? But you can live in a pretty amazing life, and you really can't. Well, the two things that like really stick out here is safety and cost of living too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like yeah, you could get the same cost of living in some places in Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, wherever, right? Even next to
Yeah,
Argentina, but you have more safety concerns there, right? And
right.
yeah, and so it's those two things combined. I mean, it's kind of special. 'Cause it's really off the
Yeah.
map, but off the radar. But yeah, but yeah, specifically, what else did you like here? Do you
So I
buy?
think also, to add to what you just said, I think to me, if when somebody yearns to come to Paraguay, I think it's for a reason. It's not just for a vacation or anything like that. It's usually like, I don't know. I can't judge for everybody, but I think it's usually at a fork of of your life, or uh, after something happened, or perhaps you had enough of somewhere, or you're going through something. It's like a peaceful getaway kind of thing. Because for example, if and you maybe you don't want to be seen too much, you know what I mean? You just want to lay low, kind of be humble, you know, um, and your soul yearns for that. I think Paraguay calls you, you know what I mean? Because remember, there's other countries around where you can go and get certain things and have fun or whatever. I mean, you got Brazil next door, that's a whole lot of fun, whatever you want to do. But then it's like, okay, if you want, for example, the peaceful life, the quiet life, you're looking forward to having a family, or perhaps uh, you don't want too much headache. You just want to live that peaceful, that serene type of lifestyle. I think Paraguay calls you more than some of these other places. And then I felt like in Paraguay, for sure, you can make you can have friends a little bit easier, and friends that stick, perhaps without not too much of a uh what do you call it, with an automotive, right? People want to know you for genuinely you, in some sense. If you're in the business world, people, they catch interest in you. It's like a genuine interest versus other places where I went. For the most part, too, what I noticed is that the people are content with what they have. It's like we might see like somebody as poor, they don't have nothing, but Paraguay is a very different type of, I wouldn't call it poverty, but it's like what they have is what they know, and it's sufficient, right? And for example, you go to most people's house, and you still can have, carne asada. You know what I mean? Compared to most places where I went, where there was some poverty, or a lot of poverty, where they couldn't even get money to eat. You know what I mean? Or have something in the stomach. Like there's a real struggle there. And you put that mixed with the inflation. Like, I give you an example, like Dominican Republic, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of day-to-day stress and suffering, and that pushes people to the limit, and that pushes them to do things that they don't want. And what is that? Crime, prostitution, just overall deception. A very low trust society. You know what I mean? But in Paraguay, it wasn't the case. Like what I felt was, okay, if people didn't have enough, and what is not having enough? Because that has a different meaning to everybody. Not having enough for me is different than whatever it means to the average Paraguayan. So, but the one thing I did notice, at least, is that it was sufficient. Whatever they have is sufficient. Like they have enough to feed their family and take care of themselves. Yes, the wages are stagnant like anywhere else, but I didn't feel like there's such a pressure to just do bad things all over the place and be so distrustful and just screw over people is there, but it's not as high as like a Colombia, where you guaranteed to get screwed, or you guaranteed to meet the wrong woman, or you guaranteed to get robbed, and things like that. Like I didn't feel that. You know what I mean? I seen like some of these neighborhoods, like women riding their bike at like 11 p.m. So that just like it gives a trust to the society. You know what I mean? When you see that with your own eyes, you're like, wow, okay, like I'm peeping, the little details of life, and that's what I
Yeah.
like about Paraguay for sure.
Yeah. No, no, you're right, man. And being here on the ground, and I've lived amongst the people too, like in normal neighborhoods too. And I take more chances than your average person. I'm walking around with the iPhone, but even at nighttime, I'll walk home and stuff. Uh, and even when they say it's the worst times, it's like, I mean, to me, the states is there's places even in my home city, my little tiny home city, where I would consider much more dangerous than Paraguay. Um,
Oh yeah.
and so yeah, man. But yeah, in general too, what you're saying, I guess I don't think about it enough. Is like especially like the Dominican Republic or like some of the Southeast Asian countries where things like beef, right, are really almost luxury things, or like a South Korea or Japan or something like that. But like here, like even like you were saying, like people with not very much money can eat beef on a daily basis. Now that might not be something that us as Americans think about all the time as being important, but beef is good. Beef is protein. Beef is quality. So like and beef is also culture here because when we have our asados and cookouts, like it's reasonably priced still. And I was just thinking like even in the States, I was seeing some shit like ground beef for like a pound is what, like going like anywhere from $6 to $12. And here it's like $1.50, $2 still. Even steaks, right? So when your average person, what we would consider a low or average earner down here, can still afford some of those things in life that still make you happy, eggs, beef, and you're not just stuck to rice and all that. Well, not to mention that you can grow vegetables and fruit here pretty much anywhere. uh Extremely fertile country when it comes to agriculture as well. So those things matter, and Paraguayan, we call it an island, even though it's very much on the main continent, but it's actually not an island, so we still have access to and we're a crossroads nation as well. So we get quality products from Brazil and Argentina, anything that Paraguay doesn't produce, and you see it in our supermarkets for cheap. So people can eat good if they want, and when people are eating good, you're doing well. It's when you're
Yeah.
really starving hard, like you were saying, like in a Haiti, for example, maybe a Dominican Republic. That's when things are gonna hell, even in big, huge million people favelas in Brazil, right? That's where things can get really out of control, but not really here in
Oh yeah.
Paraguay.
No, no, Paraguay. I didn't get that vibe at all. I didn't see it at all. Like and I was talking to my buddy about that. I said like Paraguayan people are like they're stocky, you know what I mean? Like I haven't seen one that's like super, super skinny that's like starving, you know what I mean? Like they're stocky, they got food in the stomach. And as long like like my grandma used to say, she said, what's in your stomach is yours, you know what I mean? Like everything else is BS. So if they're well fed, that's it. Like everything else is a benefit on top. You know what I mean? It's not um you don't have to like kill yourself for certain things. Like a lot of things are available. You go to the grocery store, it's full, it's stocked. You find anything you want. You got local markets. You got corner vendors. Like in the bodegas. That sell things. Individually in small packs, whatever you want to buy. 3 tomatoes. You could go to the corner. Like you're not forced to go to a Costco and just get like bulk tomato and just bulk meat and just you're not forced to. If you don't have the money, there's option. You know what I mean? Is what I'm saying. And
Yeah,
I think also, and then one thing people don't take into account, Paraguay is so close to the Brazilian beaches in terms of like I've seen flights to like Curitiba, like that don't cost much. I mean Curitiba is not on the coast for say, but you're close enough to the coast where you can just hop on a bus from Curitiba, Brazil, to get to the beach, or they to Florianopolis from Asunción. And from what somebody told me is that Paraguayans don't need a visa. There's like an agreement between them and Brazil to like travel, which is great. And it's only like what 45-minute flight from what I've seen. And then also you got other tourist attraction. You could go to Buenos Aires, Argentina in an hour and a half by plane. You could get to Santiago, Chile in like hour 45, 2 hours. Sao Paulo, hour and a half. You got those options, that's there. So you're not, yes, it's landlocked, but you're not locked in. You know what I mean? The only thing maybe that sucks a little bit is the price of those tickets a little bit. But if you're going to Brazil, it's cheaper. But if you're going to Argentina, to ease your struggle, like I'm not a personal fan of Argentina when I went, but that's just another story. But like you could get places cheap and you're not
Yeah,
stuck in there. And then also, what people don't take into account is that if you have an ID, because the thing is, sometimes you might go to a place, you might not find it as fun because there's something that you used to do that's not there. But you can also bring your ID because Paraguay, to me, is like a blank canvas in a lot of ways. There's so many things that you could see that are missing based on just traveling and your experience and all that, because there's some countries that's quote unquote that are developed and some that are underdeveloped, right? And you could see like, okay, maybe we don't have this, maybe we don't have that, or what do you call it? Maybe they don't have this, and I can bring that, like I don't know, whatever in terms of your God knows, maybe you bought a piece of land, right, and it's perched on a little hill, right, outside of the city, because there are hilly sides when you go outside towards the lake, right? And maybe you've bought a piece of land that has a hill, and then maybe you like doing what's called wind surfing or whatever it is, or how do you call it? Wind gliding or whatever. Maybe you can introduce that to the country, right? And people never did that, and that's something. Okay, cool. That's your little hustle. That's your little money that you're making from that. You know what I mean? Like you're good. There's so many things you could bring to Paraguay that's not there, and it's a very and then maybe perhaps break the mold a little bit because it is a very strict 9 to 5 place. I kid you. That is one of the most 9 to 5 places I've ever seen. Like you see the rush in the morning, the rush in the afternoon, 8 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., quiet as hell. So maybe you could bring some things to break the mold a little bit and get the people to come out more. Like you could bring your creative side. It encourages the entrepreneur spirit in you. You're not just stuck to like, oh, what is the next employer that's going to employ me in Paraguay or whatever it is? Because you might not even want the wage, you know what I mean, that they're offering, but you certainly can create your own. You can bring your own ideas, your own thoughts, and the minimum wage is so low there. I'm not saying go and lowball people, but I've heard terrible stories too about how even like although the minimum wage is like I think between 150 200 a month, and then there are still employers that's not willing to pay that. They're willing to lowball the employee and also use them as an intern without pay. It's crazy. But you could be like that person and be like, okay, you know what? I'll pay them 200, whatever, and have some nice employees. It still won't hurt your pocket to have a business there. That's the beauty about that country that I fell in love so much with. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
there are people who are looking for a job and they're willing to, give their life to your cause. So
yeah, yeah. And we're an extremely young country too, so like that's good for if you're searching for workers, but also it's good for just social life too. Like, swear to God, man, like we're just like your average person is like my age or younger. Actually, no, younger than me. Like in your 20s still, I believe. Which in the states is like 40 or 50, and you can really see it. There's a lack of young people, and then most young people are stressed the fuck out in the states. But like people here, even if people don't have everything, people are still willing to have fun, go meet each other, like talk about different things and ideas and stuff. So yeah, it's a healthy vibe in that regard too. It
and
doesn't
in
feel,
regards to social, go
you
ahead.
know. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, it just doesn't feel old. The U.S. feels old. Mentalities feel old. Nobody wants to do anything,
True.
and it's like and like here, it's just like the complete opposite. It's just like there's life here, and you can see it in people. And And even when these little these kids are playing soccer, probably like preteens or whatever, they're just telling me about their lives and stuff. Um, they're like, "Oh yeah, I got like 4 or 5 siblings. Oh yeah, I got like 4 or 5 siblings. I got like 4 or 5 siblings." And so it's like, everybody has these big families here. Um, and one of the kids was like, "Oh yeah, my mom's like your age." I was like, "Damn," Uh, so
It's true.
you
That's
know,
true. Very common. Yeah. I met girls like that.
yeah,
Like their mom was my age. I'm 38. I'm like, what the hell? Like,
it's actually exactly what she was. But
yeah.
no, man. But the point is like you feel like this country is growing, and it's not just like the numbers, but it's the people too. It's like if you meet one person, it's like a domino effect. You can meet so many people out of that one person, out of that one local. You know what I mean? And it almost gets to a point where, like, especially if you're here for a long time, like me, like you could almost be overwhelmed by it. Like for me too, for me, my channel. Like I swear to God, I probably have gotten at least by now probably like 100 subscribers just by telling people about myself, just by introducing myself. Now, if I do that in the states, everybody would be like, "Oh, you're fucking lame," or "Your channel, I don't care, it's not big enough," or like, what are you doing, or "You're just a lame," or "What do you want to be a YouTuber?" But here, people are like inspired. People are like, "Damn, that's cool as hell." Like even when I said I got over a little over 1,000 or something, some people was like, "Wow, that man, that's so cool." Like, so like
Yeah.
people support you down here too, in your endeavors, and people who don't know too in Latin America, like we depend on growing our businesses through things like social media and Instagram and that kind of stuff. So if you have any kind of online presence and you're willing to, like, I don't know, even throw your stuff on a normal Instagram page, like people will appreciate you for that. For like even their like you, for example, found my cousin's cake business, dessert business, and then a lot of that stuff is a WhatsApp and Instagram, and then I'll promote obviously as well, but there's a lot of love, here. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Because to add to what you said, like socializing. For example, there's one thing I noticed when I went to Paraguay, and I had to catch myself back a little bit. Like socializing is something that's cultivated there, right? It's not just like, yes, there's all this aspect of text and all that, and it's changing by generation, but the overall, in terms of the societal way of socializing there, is back to the basics. It's a place where people still have iPhone 8, iPhone 7. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have an importance to have like the latest, nicest gadget, because the socialization is back to the basics. Meaning, hey, if I want to talk about something important, can you meet me at the local, I don't know, cerveceria or whatever, or can you meet me at the ice cream shop or whatever? It's like back to the basics like that.
Yeah.
So what it does is, it had an effect on me because I'm like, damn, like these things have meaning versus here where you don't even know your neighbor. You don't even know half of the, like, you always texting somebody or barely even calling somebody. But there it's like they're calling, they if they're not calling, then they're meeting up, and things like that. I remember going to some of these restaurants, and when I get to the restaurant, I notice the crowd that's there, right? Because I'm over there, always look at me, right? And when I sit and eat, like the people that I met there, I usually leave before they leave, which was always funny to me because I'm like, damn, these people are really taking their time. They'll take like 1 hour and a half or 2 hours to drink that bottle of wine and chit chat and eat. Like, like they're not rushing. Like everything is, I mean, it could piss you off sometimes because like you go to a restaurant and the waiter is like, it's taking 30, 40 minutes for your food. But in essence, it helps you to slow down because it's like, bro, like life is about savoring the moments and the conversation and like admiring the small little details, things that perhaps you wouldn't see, you wouldn't pay attention to, like the decor in the restaurants. It's not just about the food. Maybe just the level of the service, the attention to detail, and things like that, and it makes you appreciate it more. And a
Hmm.
lot of people have lost that, in this world, and all they want is it's just instant gratification and things to happen quick, and then they just leave. But and then that will also frustrate you in regards to relationship too, because Paraguayan women do not move fast; they move at a snail's pace. And the expectation that we have here for things to happen like bam, 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 it's not like that. In fact, you could push them away by being too quick, too fast. Uh, they might put out an image of them that's not really there because remember it's a small city, Asuncion, right? It's like 3.5 million people, I believe, in a country of 9. So reputation is huge. Like
Yeah.
they're not gonna do anything to bring shame to their family or to their family's name. So
Yep.
if you go there with expectation, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hit, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I think a lot of the bad girls in Paraguay, from what I've seen, and I've gotten a lot of numbers, they usually go outside to do dirt, meaning Brazil or other countries or Spain and things like that. And you can see them like in the WhatsApp or whatever. Like as soon as you met them, maybe a week later or 2 weeks later, you can see them like they're at the beach somewhere in Brazil, like in a nice place that's like not corresponding to what their life really is. You know what I mean? Like you can tell, like, okay, yeah, there's somebody's doing something to that,
Yeah.
But it forces you to slow down. It forces you to just, the step by step. It's like dancing the tango or whatever. Like it takes two, right? So and the music is slow. It's like you're dancing with the person and super slow, and you got to get to know the person, and it, go on the first date, and she definitely not gonna take you serious if you don't live there or show that a hint that you're trying to live there. Like there's so many things like that can hinder you, but the thing is, it's for your growth because we've lost that here. We've lost that in a big way where we just caught in a rat race, 9 to 5, going to work, coming back home, and that's it. Okay, if you link up with your girl, it's usually a text, right? Of you like, okay, let's meet up tonight, and then go cool. You come, she come to your house, you hit it, and then that's it. Like, there's no essence to it. Like, at least in Paraguay, like, and that's the reason why perhaps like sometimes it hurt too when you lose something there because you're putting effort, right? And it's a snail's pace, and it's step by step, and then like if it doesn't work, it really hurts you a lot more than here. Here it's like, okay, whatever, cool. She didn't text me, whatever. But there it's like, yeah, I actually put in effort. She actually tried to, she took a taxi in the rain to come see me and things like that. Like you could see that. So that's another thing about Paraguay. Like it teaches you to be more sociable, and people take genuine interest in you. So it's not a place where it's like throwaway people. Like, I give you an example. The real estate lady, her name is Alicia, that I dealt with there, right? I met her, she was my Uber driver, and then we became friends. And then she drove us like to show us property all over the place. And not just showing us property, she showed me and my buddy, like she took us to the lake, she took us outside the city, she bought us food and all of that. And she would not even accept for me to give her a full tank of gas. I mean, that's the kind of people they are. You know what I mean? Like I fought to give her a full tank of gas. I had to leave the money on the seat and then tell her. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
the kind of people that they are. Like it forces you to go back to that socialization and to be social and to bring out the best of you because they also show the nice side of them. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Well, I also think too that and it's not everybody, but like for people who
sure.
are like that, who
Yeah.
you say that particular story is those people are intelligent because they realize that having you as a friend in general going forward is going to be more beneficial than this little bit of money that they're going to make. Now, the stupid people, on the other hand, they prioritize that cien mil over friendship, which, like, for me, for example, like, I try to tell people, like, hey, I have no issue, like, promoting your business here, you know what I mean? Or, that kind of stuff, but if I get a sense that people are trying to fuck me over in some sort of way, I'm like, all right, bye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Y'all lost.
overall, I've had similar things happen to me where, well, actually, two. Like, I swear to God, like, my car has had so many issues. I've had people drop everything they're doing for, like, a good amount of time to make sure my random self is, like, my car is, like, jumped or my or, to see me well, And,
Yeah,
I show love later, after that, but they didn't even expect that, but, yeah, man, it's impressive, like, what people will go out of their ways to do for you as a foreigner, or just anybody really, because they value relationships, man, and they understand that, like, you know, uh, that having you as a friend is more important than whatever little money that they can make here trying to rip you off or whatever. So
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, it's
And
special though. I'm gonna get these comments real quick. I
but
totally missed this. Why don't I offer this type of service to, like, helping people out with rent and stuff? I actually do, just on the low, because it's really, when I get into that, it's complicated because everybody's situation is so different. But I actually, like, when people send me emails and they say they want me to help with that stuff, I can. I'm kind of limited to nights and weekends with that kind of stuff. Um, but anyways, so yeah, I do, and then I do consultations as well. So just to let you guys know. Um, yeah, and then I point people in the right direction, at least for helping with residency and all that kind of stuff too. I did help my guy Aaron, but there was a complicated process, and I had to be part of it, and I don't have time for that Monday through Friday. So now I'm just pointing people in the right direction. Okay, so T Toot says, "Salute, fellas. What's up, man? What the
what's
heck?
up,
What's up?"
man?
Um, sorry. He took sass is getting citizenship in Paraguay achievable after permanent residency as an American, or will they pretty much stop at permanent residency? Um, it's a hard one, man, because uh, you're not really supposed to announce that you have dual citizenship, even if you do get it on the Paraguayan side. I technically have dual citizenship, and I didn't even try to, but because I have family links and stuff here, I probably shouldn't even have said that, but I do. Uh, but for you guys, it will transition into that. It'll just take a long time. But you guys really need to ask yourself, is it really worth it? Because with your cedula, anyways, I mean, you could do anything. You can travel on land to all these countries, anyways, and then yeah, you'll get a Paraguayan passport, and I guess you'll be able to vote, but for what? And the last thing I'll say about that is, hold on to your American passport anyways. If America goes down the drain, well, pretty much the world goes down the drain. So, is a Paraguayan passport really that important to you? Like, is it really? I would say, like, maybe a EU one is way more important, to be completely honest. Yeah, it's cool to have for sure, but a cedula is way more important, which is what you get with residency regardless. So, that's the most important thing. So, uh, yeah, yeah. But I know
And,
everybody's
it,
life is different, but yeah.
and if I can add to that, based on that question, because I spent the most of my vacation there actually trying to get to know the country and like um, perhaps in terms of business, what I can do and the procedure, and also real estate was very important to me because I saw so many opportunities to own something, that perhaps costs nothing. You know what I mean? And so uh, from all the options I was given and from what I saw, I don't think having the citizenship really matters. I think it's just a question of how tired are you, or if you don't want to pay tax again to the U.S. because that's another important part. If you got a U.S. Citizenship, we're the only ones where you gotta still pay tax for whatever you own abroad. So that might be an issue. But in general, with the Paraguayan residency, um, Paraguay is one of the best countries in terms of what they do for foreigners. I think they're trying to encourage a lot of foreigners to come there and to stay there permanently. And so what it is that like they for example, some of the places I went to check out in terms of condos and things like that, apartments. With the residency, I'm able to purchase. I mean, without the residency, rather, I'm able to purchase. I'm able to finance, which was crazy with my foreign income. I'm able to purchase. I'm able to finance, but finance on the terms of what I think the maximum was 5 years, which is 60 months, right? So if you get a condo that's I don't know 120,000, right, and you want to put ideally what 20%, right? So okay, you put 12%, 12,000 down, right? The rest of the remaining of that balance is that you got 5 years to pay it, right? And a lot of agencies that I went there, I mean the agents that I met, they were from Century 21. There were some from Remax, but I didn't talk to the Remax people. It was just Century 21, and which are American companies, and a lot of them are doing mass developments in Paraguay around Asuncion, on the other side of the bridge, which is Nueva Asuncion and all of that. So there was so many opportunities. So I had to know like okay the ins and outs of doing all these things. So I learned a lot. So with the permanent residency, with the residency, what you get, the only thing they do is once you sell, they take the government take the 5% cut. That's the only time when you get taxed. But if you buy, you're good. Like uh, even without the residency, you could buy and all of that. Like you don't have no issues whatsoever. Whatsoever. In terms of business, I can't tell you much because I mean I didn't ask so many things in terms of business. But I know for sure you gotta grease some palms, you know what I mean, and things like that. 'Cause it's back to the basics, you know. And there's corruption anywhere, you know, in the world you go. So but in terms of like, if you wanted just to get to know that part in terms of the residency and you want to get a, or if you need a residency to purchase, or you don't need it. It only matters when you sell, and because with the residency you won't get taxed for it. Versus if you're not, then it's 5%. That's what I learned. So
Yeah, residency. Yeah, is great by itself. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I mean that should be your main goal, man. Just make sure you just get that cedula, and then your cedula is good for 10 years.
yep,
Then it's just
yep.
as easy as getting your picture taken for his driver's license every time. So it's incredibly easy, and a lot of people actually don't know this either, though. But because Colombia helped us after the Triple Alliance War, it's actually written into both constitutions that me as a Paraguayan, I can actually go to Colombia with my Paraguayan ID and say, "Hey, I would like to apply to citizenship," and it's going to be easier for me than if I did it as an American. Uh, so I could actually come by Colombian residency, and I think you guys can too once you start having your Paraguayan ID. Um, it's a historical thing, but we're países hermanos, brother nations, even though we don't share a border. Uh, because they looked out for us after the war. We were allies all the way back like 170 years ago, but or whatever. So it's a cool little perk, that a lot of people don't know about. That a lot of people, and actually too, what a lot of people don't know. I confirmed too with my girl here the other day is that you can actually go work in these other countries for up to 6 months and live there. Like I can go live in Brazil for 6 months if I want to, just with my Paraguayan ID, right? And
Mm,
now I would have to like come back and do uh what do you call it? Tourist runs or visa runs, right? But I mean we share a border anyway, so it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Say I wanted to just have a change of pace for 6 months and then go to the beach or whatever. Now, as an American, I think what do you get max 90 days? What is that? 3 months. But then you also they have a visa, and you're also American, so like it's just harder in general. So that's what I mean. Like over the years, that cedula that's worth 10 years, you could save a lot of money on visa fees going to like wherever, Chile, Argentina, Brazil, and this kind of stuff changes with every presidency and stuff too. So, maybe I know that Brazil's starting to charge these high numbers for visas, but you can avoid all that stuff by having a Paraguayan residency card for sure.
mm.
Yeah,
That's something I didn't know. I'm learning with that one. I'm sure. I mean, like I said, there are some. I'm sure there are some perks, and you pulling out what do you call it, the books on that. You know what I mean? In terms of the knowledge, and um, at least from what I learned is, keep your passport, but at least get the residency, because that's gonna get you far. That's gonna get you real far. I mean, in any country, but especially in Paraguay. You know what I mean? Especially if you plan to be there. You know what I mean, for quite a while. Because I also notice a lot of people too. They just like come in and out. Like I said, there's a
yeah,
lot of empty apartments that I've seen. Like you see at night, like you see a building and then like it's half lit, like randomly lit and stuff like that. But
yeah,
that's because a lot of people come and stay like 3 months or 6 months and leave because there's a hot ass period in a hot season. The summer is really hot, so I'm sure not many people want to stay there like to experience that. So they rather go somewhere where it's on the beach or something like that. So yeah, but having that cedula, I'm now I'm learning a lot. So that's really gonna help.
yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's good that's one of your goals, man. And yeah, I guess to bring this conversation full circle, the peace and prosperity thing. I mean, moving abroad is for a lot of people who follow these kind of channels is the answer for a lot of different reasons for cost of living, retirement, uh, being in a more healthy society. What we talked about at the beginning as well, too. Um, being in a more sustainable society too, like where if a ship gets stuck in the Panama Canal, it doesn't just fuck us over for the next 3 months here, because everything is produced here in Paraguay. So like you really start thinking about these things when you get older. Like, damn, dude, like the U.S. is screwed in so many ways, and takes a long time to figure this stuff out, to get abroad and stay abroad and all that stuff. But it's so beneficial, man, so beneficial. And the relationship stuff is sticky, man, because a lot of the Western rot is coming here, internet, the fucking meaning, social media, dating apps. It's all starting to corrupt a little bit. But the thing that saves Paraguay really is the close family bonds. What you were talking about, the accountability that women have, because there is no college experience. Let me go off to another town, act like a 304 and come back, or just like destroy my reputation, because you can't do that to your family. That's why I even say, like, even some of the faster girls here, like, they're they try to be as low key as they can about that stuff. So, but yeah, man, it all goes into the bigger picture of happiness. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And to add to what you said about the girl part, there's something I debunked last time because I had to make correlations with certain things. I'm noticing that the younger generation in Paraguay, a lot of them use TikTok, right? Obviously, like anywhere, right? But on the women's side, there's a lot of feminist propaganda that's being pushed on them, and kind of like solipsism type of ideologies. Because if you look at in general, who does Paraguay look up to in terms of cultural and things like that? Yeah, Brazil got a big impact on them and things like that, right? But you also got to look at Colombia, and a lot of people don't take that into account. Like you were saying regarding the historical ties between the two countries, but uh, there's a lot of propaganda that was being pushed by the U.S. to Colombia, and it was being paid by USAID, and it was feminist propaganda. And those feminist propaganda, they got to push out the content. These people, these influencers or whatever. So all of those contents on the flip side goes are being watched by the Paraguayan women. I noticed that a lot. If you ever see a lot of these, like, I mean, if you ever have a TikTok or something like that, and you see what these Paraguayan women share, it's a lot of feminist propaganda. But by who? Because if you hear the Spanish, it's definitely not Paraguayan women that are pushing that out. It's Colombian women that are pushing that out. And if you trace back where the Colombians are getting that, it was from USAID, from the American women here that was giving them free money to do that. So that's another thing. And in regards, also to the women, um, Paraguayan women are a little flaky in terms of the character, but I
Yeah.
guess that's being shy. I don't know if well, I could say that's being shy, but they are flaky. So don't expect like, don't have the highest expectation. Like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, I'm a foreigner. I look good. I dress nice and this and that and that. They see you for who you are in a sense, and then that's it. And then they could only go with what they know. I think that goes with a lot of women. What's called the imprint, right? So if she's not used to a certain type of dude, that could scare her, right? Okay, so you might be this well dressed, nice cologne, well groomed, whatever, and you come up to her and talk to her. To her, it's like, oh my god, like I'm so shy, like this and that. Like you might scare her because all she knows is Juanito on his motorbike. You know what I mean? It's not to talk mess, but it's the type of dude that she's been introduced to since she grew up with. You know what I mean? Like, so to take her away from that, it's kind of difficult because that's all she knows. You know what I mean? It's like taking away the mandioca from her mouth and giving her, I don't know, collard greens. You know what I mean? It's a total different food. You know what I mean? That she's not used to. So you got to give her time for her to soak that. Um, and then a lot of them too, from what I noticed, it's a lot of broken heart, trauma, broken heart, because they date so young. Because what I noticed, like the women there, like that I met, their mom were my age, which was crazy, right? And then some of them, their mom was like, I'm 38. I met my last girl. Her mom was 40, 42, right? And she was 23, my girl, right? But the mom was already a grandma based on the older sister who was 26. I had a kid, which is crazy to me. Like in America here, we don't have that. So you can tell like the mom was probably starting to date at like 13 or something like that. Who knows? But there's a lot of that. And then they have harder experiences early, which shuts them down. And then the sad part is we have feminism here, right? But is it justified, right? Compared to those countries? Because if you turn on the news, and one thing I did before going to Paraguay, which I did a lot of, was just watch, because I love anything that has to do with social stuff. I watch a lot of the news, just trying to see what's going on socially there, what's going on in terms of the economy, politically, what's going on. But the one thing you do notice is the killing of women. That you will notice that. Like some dude who gets mad at his girl, he kills her, like kills her sister, the mom. I seen that, like triple homicide of one guy because he didn't get along with the girl or whatever. So you will see that, and then you will notice, okay, like they are being receptive to that feminism that's coming from those influencers in Colombia, but I can't really blame them for that because it's kind of justified. Because the thing is, there's on one side you got these dudes, what they call quote unquote machistas, who are doing these things to them, and you can find a girl in Paraguay. I'm not saying all of them, but you can find a girl in Paraguay who's already been like brokenhearted with the hardest, what do you call it? With some of the worst experience in the dating life, right? Like was beaten and things like that, abused by the boyfriend at 20. It's crazy. Like here, we think that 20, she just getting her feet wet. No, there is like she got experience in the love matter and her heart is broken. Her friends already got married. Her friends got kids. It's like they got way too much experience in terms of like, now I'm not saying sexually, but I'm talking about like in terms of the dating. So you might not find success early or right away based on that. And you're thinking like she's not being receptive to you, this and that. But man, like she just came off an abusive relationship at 19, 20. And you would never guess that. You think like, oh nah, she's just a girl hanging with her friends and going to eat and things like that. Like, nah, it's not like that. They already come with a lot of this trauma, a lot of these issues, and also familial problems and things like that. But we don't think about that. In Brazil, it's even worse. Because I'm learning Portuguese, so I watch a lot of the Brazilian news and Brazilian media in order for me to learn. But that's another thing that you see: dudes killing the girls, dudes killing the girl. Like they call it femicidio. It's a lot of that going on. But for us, we don't think about it like that. We think like, oh yes, feminism just going, but theirs is more justified than ones here. Here is like, what do you want? You were given everything, right? And you living the life that you want. You got the job. You got everything. We the men we pushed out. But there is different. In Paraguay and places like Brazil and some of these other South American countries, is actually feminist the conviction of being a feminist because of, of of the experience and from what has previously happened to them. Rather, it's family abuse. There's a lot of that too. Nobody did talk about. They won't talk about that with you. Family abuse, family trauma, because it's like family's so tight they'll sweep under the rug. You know what I mean? So you got to really sit down, like break their mind, like and just get in there and just you got to have some type of emotional intelligence to know, like, okay, why is she being like this? Why is she being too shy? Because of all the trauma of being beaten or whatever it is, and there's no laws that stops them, or even if there is, who has time to even like take a case because my boyfriend was beating me and I'm 19. Nobody cares. The judge probably look at you like nobody cares. But here they'll take that serious. You go to jail, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
But in countries like that, it's not. So you got to take that into account when you talk to women. There, like it's a lot of trauma, and they come with way more experience, and they're not gonna open to you like that right away. But my guessing is if they do, at some point you probably have the best relationship because it's like it's kind of sucks because you have to make them overcome certain things that you are not. It's not your fault. You didn't do it, and then there's a lack of trust because one thing about women is they they're not gonna learn from another dude that's gonna be like, oh, you know what, like this and this happened to you. I can help you solve that. No, they'll go get the advice from another woman who give her the wrong advice and be like, girl, every man is bad, every man is this, every man is that, but it's not. It's not true. So
Yeah.
take that into account.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I see all angles of this. And it's not all women, but there's a huge percentage that are like you said, already live like they're damn near 30 years old by the time they're 20. And I there was a very beautiful woman I was seeing at the beginning, drop dead gorgeous model, right? But she was just so traumatized, dude, so traumatized. And there's a really hush hush culture. What goes on behind closed doors goes on behind closed doors, even if your family knows about it, right? And in general, too, the police just won't do as much as they will in the states. In the states, if you beat on a woman, you're going straight to prison, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Here it's not all the time, unfortunately. And it's sad to see because the thing is, like, a lot of these girls are amazing, and that's
oh
what,
yeah,
like, I get mad at local guys too. I'm like, look, man, y'all don't even understand, like, the beautiful, feminine, wonderful women you have. Like, y'all are the problem.
they're pimping them. Hmm.
Y'all are the goddamn problem. And it's hard for me, right? Because I have family here, and I understand all sides of this stuff, but that's another the reason too why a lot of us are, we may not be perfect either, but we're considered gentlemen, like, on a world stage, like, as Westerners, because we have things like consequences in our societies. We've had to walk on eggshells, and when it comes into international dating, that actually helps us out. The only thing where it might hurt us a little bit is they might think we're a little bit of a pushover. Now that's where you really have to stand on your own 2 feet and be like, look, if you start crossing lines, like, after communication's already said and done, and you repeat certain behaviors, then that comes on us as guys to break stuff off, uh, and not continue stuff. But you know, it's too bad because, yeah, there's far too many uh, really young women who had to live that far too young. Um, but sorry, one second.
Nah, get some water, man. Yeah, get some water.
Dying
Get
over.
some water. I carry on for you. Yeah,
But
and go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, the only thing I'll say though is, like, but at the other side, there are wonderful and great women out here because like, these young women might have an uncle like me, and, like, they're really familiares, right? They're really about their family, right? Not to a toxic level, right? But they like we were saying before, the reputation thing, right? So they will take into consideration, like, what we think about their partner, or they'll think twice about bringing the guy home or whatever. And those are gonna be the hardest girls that you're gonna get, and like those are gonna be the ones that like literally you're gonna want to like old school court, because like they're that worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but they're very hard to find. That's the thing, and honestly, you're not gonna find them downtown. It's gonna be so
Nah.
fucking hard for you to find them downtown. You're gonna literally have to go to San Lorenzo, Capiata, and Itagua, and Aregua. You're gonna have to get in the community for a minute. You're gonna have to be feeling good at Spanish. The people around you are gonna have to like you. Most likely, you're gonna be introduced by some family member. That's literally how it's gonna happen. It's probably not gonna happen at any kind of event or anything like that. It's gonna be through others who are gonna introduce you, right? Uh,
Yep.
so yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I would suggest too. Like I tried the Tinder thing there. It's full of women with just trauma and just time wasters, cheaters, and things like that. Don't do it. Is there? Paraguay is back to the basic instead of socializing. So you could just walk up to a woman and just talk to her, say hi. Like you're not gonna get rejected, get pushed away. At the least she would say is, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend," things like that. It's not like a harsh, like, "Oh, get away from me." I never had that there. You know what I mean? They'll give you a nice, pleasant smile. Ask you what you're doing here and things like that. And then okay, if you got her number, you got it. If you didn't, you didn't. No pasa nada, right? But
yeah,
what do you call it? If you do want to meet them, from what I know, that you go to supermarkets also, but don't go to places like Ryan said, like in the city center there, because that's where I stayed, right in Villamoa, that area. And the issue there is that I always say this about South America. I'm a black guy, but people make it look. People always want to talk about racism. To me is classism in South America, right? Versus racism. People do not understand that part about South America, and it pains me sometimes. So if I'm going to the city center over there, or Villamoa, or what have you, right? Most of the girls that you meet there, mommy and daddy got money, or they're well off, or whatever it is. So it's like they only in Latin American societies, they only marry within class that got money because they want to carry that wealth amongst them. It's not like here where we were like gaslighted with stories of Pretty Woman, right? That movie from 1992 where like, oh, the rich guy went and married the whore kind of thing. It's not
yeah,
like that there. There you can't do that because mom and dad will not accept it. Like, and a mom and dad have a say in that marriage or that relationship and say if mom said no, it's a no. You know what I mean? Even though
yeah,
you could be rich from another country or whatever, it doesn't matter to them. She wants her daughter to marry the lawyer. What do you call it? The lawyer family that lives across the street or whatever. That's what the daughter's gonna have, and that's it. That's how they see it. They date amongst themselves. They mingle amongst themselves. So you'll feel like an outcast, and I feel more like an outcast in that area based on the fact of those people having their money and mingling amongst themselves, and it's hard to make a friend to break in that class. But it wasn't like, oh yeah, like no, I was well dressed. I had nice clothes, good cologne. I was very presentable and all of that, right?
yeah,
But it's not that. Yeah, you meet other expats and all of that, but there's a sense of being a little lonely based on that fact. And that's not just in Paraguay. It's in a lot of Latin countries where you go. Is that the higher the class you go, the more lonely it gets because if you weren't born with them and raised with them and all that, you're not accepted, and that goes from out from being in that from that country or an outside. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
And even if you have money and you're like one of the how do you call it new money or whatever, it doesn't matter. You still be pushed away. That's just the mentality in Latin America, and they'll marry only amongst their classes. And like Ryan
well,
said, it's best if somebody introduces you, or if you go, if you get introduced to somebody through somebody, and then like San Lorenzo, Capiata, those areas outside the city, I felt like there was more down to earth women than in the city. The city had more like I call them butterflies, right? So it's a bunch of yeah, you get the number, and then maybe you invite them to eat, but everything is like Instagram kind of thing, and then you have to invite them to go eat at some of the nice place or rooftop and things like that. So it feels
yeah,
like an Instagram, like almost like I wouldn't call it a leech, but like energy vulture type of thing, where it, you have a good chance it might not lead to anything because of the fact that it's like another fun day for her. And these girls, you stay there long enough, you find out that they all know each other, or they all know the same groups of foreigners. They all know, it's like that kind of a mess. So it's like, oh, you want to be careful because you just met her, but she know this girl that also know that foreigner, that foreigner, that foreigner, and that foreigner might have hit it. It's kind of messed up. Like it's a pool of like some women that just like dance around the same group, same area, same foreigners, and it never changes. It's like no, but if you go outside, you're more of a novelty. You go to a food park, like we went to a food park in San Lorenzo. My God, I was getting a lot of love. You know what I mean? Like girls all over the place. They were looking, they were smiling. You know what I mean? Even when I left, Ryan said there's a girl who cooked in the back over there that wanted my number. It's like that. And me, I don't care. Like in terms, I'm not looking for like the richest girl. If it happened, it happened. But
Yeah.
I'm a down to earth guy. I could sleep in that luxury suite in Villamoa the same way I could sleep on a concrete floor. It doesn't matter to me. So yeah, your best chance is outside the city for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, outside the downtown. Yeah, and I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
What's up, Aaron? Shout out. John Steven. Yeah, we're live, man. Coming to Paraguay before the end of the
What's
year
up,
tonight.
fellas?
Is it Jean? Is that French, right? Jean. Um,
Jean Steven.
Hope to meet you there for show. What the heck? Great live. I'm listening in from Taipei. Is that
Oh man, what's up, Taipei, Taiwan? Man, I was there in January.
Oh, that's
A nice
Taiwan. Oh,
place. Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Oh yeah, now I remember what the heck. Okay.
yeah.
I think. Um, sorry guys, but I will say something though. The one thing I will sort of disagree with you is if you're here on the ground for a very long time, you can start overcoming some of those barriers about like, oh, you weren't born into into the hood, right? So for me, for example, like I come from America, right? And I just popped up out of nowhere
Yeah.
for my family. But the thing is, I gained respect over the years, So like, like yeah, I guess some girls have looked at me as a mark, but I get it a little bit better than your average foreigner. That like meaning
Yeah.
that like they know not to fuck with me, and some try to, but I'm not just an immediate mark, but there's some guys who are immediate marks for sure. And doesn't matter how good looking they are or how rich they are. Some girls will always look at them as as like that,
Mark. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
No, it's true.
Yeah, we had a gigantic parade going on here, and I wondered why the other day. I wanted to show you that, but I was like, who won? Like, who won the soccer game? It's like, no, it's not who won, it's who lost. I was like, so anyway, so we have two main teams, Olimpia and Cerro. And it wasn't because Olimpia won, it's because they lost. And then so all this Cerro, because their team isn't very good, they're just cheering that Olimpia lost. So I was like, I had to ask my girl the other day, like, what the fuck is going on outside? Because they have these huge caravans of parties and stuff going on. So it's pretty
Oh yeah,
funny.
yeah. The games are big,
Soccer.
man. Like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are big events. Everybody comes out for those games.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But yeah, dude, the girl thing is it's hard, dude, because like you said, like Paraguay is is great for us who want to get married, but like it still takes a long time, But it's still better than a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
the other countries, to be completely honest, So
I
because
agree,
we don't have that
100%.
full degenerate culture, so there's actually like a fighting chance that you could still find your traditional girl here, and they're fine as hell. So you know,
Yeah, that's the one thing I have to add to that. Paraguayan women are gorgeous, man. Like they're not short like how in Colombia they are like 5'1", whatever. They're like most of them that I met were around like 5'5", 5'6", 5'7", a lot of them, and they were not like super skinny either. They either have like model frame or they got like flat stomach and just nice thighs, like nice body on them, Then you got like some of them who are completely like brunettes, complete blonde, some of them with green eyes. You had them array of all types of girls, right? Some of them were a little darker in complexion, um, like like mestizo. Some of them that I saw were like ginger. A lot of ginger girls I saw there too. Very beautiful, very feminine. The women there, like I haven't seen many women that like just come out, unless they're going to work, unless it's like a normal day. I haven't seen many that like just come out just looking basic. No, they'll actually put and that kind of like like in American culture, I guess here in the U.S., like you might see that, you might call your girl or whatever, and like you see her all dressed up or whatever, and you're like, oh, where you going? Like, but you have to take into account that's just a normal thing, for and a lot of people are ignorant. So I have to mention that they take care of themselves, like if they got a little extra money. But one thing I do notice, they're not beauty queens in terms of like, oh, princesses that need to be taken care of so much like in Colombia. So it's not like if they have the money to get the nails done, they'll get it done. But if they don't, they'll just put like a little painting on it and that's it, right? It's not like, oh yeah, you have to send me money so I go get my nails done. They're not like what do you call it? Like super meticulous in terms of like I need it. I have to have my every week I get my nails done, I get my hair done. It's not like that. They take care of themselves on the basic level. Like many times, like you call your girl or whatever, she's at a friend and her friend is doing her hair. You know what I mean? Things like that, like that's lost over here. We don't even have that. Here you have to, she has to spend $40 just for the fingernails or $80 for the toes or whatever it is. There is like, no, I'm hanging with my girlfriend, and she's painting my nails. They'll send you pictures and things like that. And like that makes you feel warm inside. You're like, wow, like that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah.
Jean-Steven, je parle français. Je suis de la Côte d'Ivoire, originaire de la Côte d'Ivoire.
I
I'm
forget you
speaking
speak
French, bro.
French.
He says French, yeah.
Okay. Well, what did you just say?
I told him I'm originally from the Ivory Coast, so
Oh, okay, okay,
West
okay.
Africa. Originally from the Ivory Coast, West Africa. That's where I was born, but raised in America.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah,
Yeah, so I speak French. French is my first language.
yeah. So Jean, yeah, he has his girl, so no problem, dude. Like, I know we talked to a lot about single guys coming here, but this can be a paradise for couples too, man. Like, there's so much to do.
Oh yeah,
Uh, you know, and yeah, people just don't know about everywhere. But like, you could just
yeah,
have the greatest time going to just any one of our small towns, like any one of them. And like you were saying too, that I forgot to comment on, like the whole like, see, I'm from a Madison, Wisconsin, right? And like even something like an ice cream cone, you're talking like $7 to $12. But here you're talking
yeah,
like $1, you know, and
yeah,
there's so much like healthy competition of like families just like out there with their food or their ice cream or their frutia cups or whatever. And so you can like literally like you can have like a $5 on you American. That's like two
yeah.
coffees, two ice creams, and I don't know, a tip or a bus ride home. So it's like, and it's just so
Literally,
like it's just kind of blissful in that way that I can walk down any street here where I'm at, and like I can find something to eat. Not at any time of the night, but like like during the day, I can find like ice cream. I can find anything, and I'll be good. And in America, that's becoming harder and harder because everything's either a franchise or there's hardly any mom and pop stops or shops, that do things like ice cream anymore
yeah.
or anything like simple. Like and not only
Everything's
that, but
corporation.
like you can like buy flowers anywhere here. Like yeah, there's the wonderful bouquet spots that are well known. But like even when you go to a club, if you guys don't know this, like there's usually like a flower lady like walking around and like has roses on
Yeah,
her
I
and stuff.
remember
So
that.
like yeah. So
I remember that.
yeah, so like they're like a couple bucks or whatever, but the flower lady helps you out, and then you got flowers for your girls, so you're all good. you know.
Yeah,
So
like the romance there, like from what I noticed, people romanticize a lot there. Like they just it's a romantic kind of culture. You know, people like go holding their girl's hand and things like that. You get a lot of that, and then like girls are very receptive to romanticism, which is not the case here in America, where it's completely gone. It's like you're more of a simp to a girl here if you give her flowers or if you make a kind gesture of, it's like it's either you're a simp to her or it's to boost her ego, but there's no value
Yeah.
in being a man and romanticizing with a woman. There, it's like it goes a long way. You know what I mean? They remember that,
Right.
and their family would give you points for it.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like the whole spiel. So it's like there's great value in that, and because it's
Yeah.
back to the basics. So you're not pushed for showing like you're a man and you care about a woman or you want her and things like that. You're definitely not pushed for that. They won't punish you for that. But I will say, I'll go back always to that trauma thing. Yes, it is received, but sometimes it's not translated, right? So you could give them whatever it is, right? A flower, whatever, chocolates or whatever, but you always gotta take into account like because if you meet a like Ryan said, you meet a 20-year-old is like you met a 30-year-old. She got like that kind of experience already in relationship. So it might not be translated correctly, like or fully, right? Like, okay, you know what? He loves it's because he loves me and this and that. He really wants me, and she might be like, okay, and so yes, it's nice, a kind gesture. Thank you for giving it to me, but what is the motive? Like, are you gonna beat me later, or are you, like, are you gonna be a hole like the rest of these guys that treated me bad? So you got to kind of fight like her past or the past of that individual sometime when it comes to that, and a lot of it even it's not even relationships. Some of them is their own father, like just been beating them, abusing them, or molesting them, whatever it is. Like it's a lot of crazy stories like that too that you get, but everything's swept under the rug, so you just gotta be careful and always trying to. I always say with Latinas, I know Paraguayan women are very different than most Latinas because you know I don't see them relating too much to the rest of Latin culture. Quote, right? I think the further south you go, the more different they are, right? So I always say that they're very different in terms of their understanding and how they perceive themselves because there is some aspect of American culture in there somewhat because if you go a lot of bars, restaurants, and things like that, you hear a lot of like songs in English. And I was kind of mad. I'm like, where are the Paraguayan singers?
Yeah.
There was a lot of like pop music, a lot of rock and roll, like American stuff. And you're like, what the hell? But yeah, man, you got to take that into account with the girls, man. You got to fight the past, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, most of the time, yeah. And they'll have their one or two boyfriends, but don't get it twisted though. What Lewis is not saying is that like he's not saying that they have high body counts like the states, right? But he's
No,
saying that they had a couple of very very intense relationships, or sometimes even just one, right? Because I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, these guys, right? And it hurts me to say this, right? Because because I am Paraguayan by blood, and then I do have family and stuff, but these guys, they really don't know what they have, and they uh, consequences are so low for misbehavior, and they're just not from places like us in the states, right? Like
yep,
we have a limit of beautiful women who are kind and feminine. Here, there's beautiful women 12 on this block alone.
everywhere.
You know what I mean? So it's like so like they don't understand that they're not from where we're from. So there's not a what's the word? There's not a lack of supply.
Yeah, yeah,
Somebody's gonna get mad at me for saying it that way, but it's true though. Like,
that's
and
facts.
so these guys are spoiled and they don't know what they have, and they at least on a per capita level, they have no idea, right? Like they would do so terribly in the states, right? Um, because they're extra with it, with their bullshit. And again, it's not to like say I've been fucking perfect. I've been super imperfect, especially when I was younger, but a lot of these guys don't grow up either, though. They'll carry these bad behaviors in their 20s and 30s, and it hurts me to say this, but the reason I'm so adamant about like keeping it real is because man, I have women in my family who suffered because of this shit. Like these motherfuckers
Yeah.
don't know what they got, you know, and
Hmm.
you know, and I love the men in my family who do right, man. But there's a lot of dudes down here that don't get it, man, and they may never get it. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, my last girl came off abuse too. Like, what do you call it? I mean, that's we had issues regarding even. I had to let her go because of even that, because I met her like a month before she ended a traumatic relationship with where she was beaten and all that. And it wasn't her that explained to me; it was actually her friend that explained to me what happened to her. You know what I mean? Because she kind of swept under the rug, So I had to get understanding. I'm like, man, like what's going on? You know what I mean? You're not being receptive sometimes, but the friend explained to me like, hey, it was a real a hole that she was with, that beat her, that was abusing her and all of that. And I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, so it had an effect. I had to pay the price for what somebody else did. You know what I mean? And could it have worked out? Yeah, if I was there full time and trying to massage the pain away and all of that. And I think us men, we like for all the trauma that happens to men, we kind of take internally and like we push it away, and a better experience can change that. But I think women, they hold on to theirs like forever kind of thing, unless they really work on the spiritual side and do therapy or something that pushes them to say I need to work and heal myself. But you get a lot of individual that just walk around with a bag of childhood trauma and all kind of things like that, and it hurts you because you're paying the burden of that, and there's nothing you could do about it because the change has to come from that person herself. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, she has to say, you know what, I can't do it no more. Like, I can't be this distrusting of everybody. Like, I'm losing all my good relationship, the help, and all of that is because of what happened to them. And
well,
you sit, like I
yeah,
said, you sit down long enough, you will hear some crazy stories, man.
but it ain't even just the friends though, man. Like what's effed up here too is sometimes it'll be the older generations of women that'll be like, oh, that's normal, or just stick in there because oh he's got a lot of money, or he's from a good family. Oh, but he beats you. He might not later, or some like stupid shit like that. So like,
Hmm.
or like, oh, you've been his side piece for 10 plus years. Stay with him. He might make you his like what? Like no, like like no, like get out of that fucking mindset. Like sometimes like unfortunately, not everybody's like uh, the best educated down here, and sometimes like women will pass that on to their daughters, and tell them to stick in with dumb stuff, and
Yeah,
and then yeah, man, and it's like you said, like because we're not trying to look for these women, right? But sometimes you will come across a woman you like, but then you'll start finding out she does have some trauma. And you don't just immediately want to kick her to the curb. You can see, okay, well, can this be worked out? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But we're kind of still analyzing it, right? Like, okay, is it too far gone of a situation where I don't want to deal with this, or not, right? But because a lot of us guys, we have our own traumas too. But like you said, like we deal with it in different ways and stuff. When we try not to like push that on our partners, or like
yeah.
we'll talk about it and then like still live our daily lives and stuff. But
Some of us traveled, man, because of trauma. You know what I mean? Like, that's how the adventure began.
yeah,
You
no, it's
start
true.
discovering other places. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's another thing too, man. Us guys, we don't have the luxury of just like uh doing our makeup and posting something on Instagram. Like we have to change 20,000 things about our lives before we even are in a setting, an environment, or a situation where we're even gonna get like be blessed to get noticed. Period. Like I've been outside of the states for over 14 months, and I kind of forgot how it was for a lot of guys there, because I'm pretty damn spoiled here myself. But um, but it's hard, man, in the states. So because like nobody wants anybody, and it's just a whole bit a bunch of fuckery. But when you get here, dude, a lot of things can change. But that's when you got to slow down as a guy too and be like, damn, okay, what do I really want? Yeah, there's pretty faces everywhere, but what do I really want and like want to put up with? A lot of these girls may want to live with you, etc. So I don't know, man. It's a it's a whole thing, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there's good and bad and everything, you know. Me, I prefer to know what the bad is and what I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? And and that helps a long way too. But yeah, like you said, man, here, you know, I'm in Las Vegas. It's a no-no to date around here. You can't even date. Most of the U.S. right now is just a mess. Like if you didn't get the chance to be in college and like meet your, I don't know, your sweetheart at some point where they were less susceptible to the propaganda. I mean, college, that's where they get indoctrinated, to be honest, these days. But if you catch them, like, I guess at a good time where both of you are just learning about the world and things like that, and then, like, you know, you check out of it, then those people were actually lucky. But for the most part, it just been ruined. But it's actually reversing here, to be honest, because of all the, hard time don't choose don't choose people by gender. You know what I mean? Hard time is hard time. Everybody faces. You know what I mean? There's layoffs everywhere. Government jobs are being lost. All the guarantees that were given to women here are gone. So it's like they're forced to like humble themselves and go back to the basics. But like you said, in some other countries, they don't have that luxury where, okay, you know what, like I could just get an apartment by myself. Or there was a saying I remember when I was in Bogota and I stayed there for a long time that most relationships in Bogota are out of convenience, meaning it's because one can't leave the other for because of rent. You know what I mean? They're forced to stay together. And then like although they don't like each other, although they're like mentally separated, but then like out of that might pop out a kid or whatever. It's crazy, you know? But I guess some places like here they still have that luxury where they could do whatever they want, but at the cost of society and at the cost of dudes. But Paraguay? Nah, you're gonna be spoiled for choice. I was getting a lot of attention there. To be honest, whether it's good or bad, I don't know, but I know for sure, women wise, like there's no shortage. And I mean, I don't go places with the hopes that I'm gonna find a wife or something like that there, because at that point, then you self sabotaging because you're just gonna let in whoever, you know. That's not good. But for sure, the propensity of or the chance of meeting a wife in Paraguay, I think to me is higher than probably anywhere that I've been. Because I think if you have a wife there, like the way society is constructed supports that. Versus, for example, my previous to last girlfriend was Colombian. The society doesn't support like a healthy relationship or marriage. Like marriage to them, I remember when an aunt got married, it was on a random Tuesday, and the aunt got married to her husband to to her long. I don't know if it's fiance at that point or what at that point anymore, but I call it husband. Some 30 some years and 4 kids after, right? On a random Tuesday afternoon, and then we all went to eat at the house, and then that was it. Like it wasn't like, oh yeah, you know what? This is a special event where we need to order dresses and this and that. Everybody, some people showed up in like regular outfits or whatever. So it like being in a marriage or being with somebody like long term had like no meaning in that society. And then if the girl don't want you, she can go and sell her body and get whatever attention, dude, attention for whatever dude she wants. So is years after 7 years clocking in Colombia that I learned that no, like whoever, it doesn't matter who you meet, even if she's good or not. It's gonna be the crab in the bucket mentality where the family's gonna sabotage that thing because most of them are not married. Then you're gonna have also the issue of the society doesn't support it. Then you're fighting influencers that are all over the place, like minds, who are gonna sabotage your relationship. And then you also got the issue of degeneracy that's going on in that society just based on what's going on. You know, if it doesn't work, I could go sell myself, whatever it is. You know, but in Paraguay, I never felt that. I felt that okay, even if your relationship don't work out with that person, but perhaps it can work with another person because everywhere you go, there are people, there are women that you can meet long term. What do you call it? Oh yeah, Aaron is saying Mexico is great for dating long term. Yes, I agree with that for sure. Because I've been to about 10 cities in Mexico, and one of my really good friends is Mexican. Spend some time there. It's also a great place. In Mexico, the Mexican women are better than here for sure. But yeah, in Paraguay, it supports that. The society supports that. You go places on the weekend to eat. You see couples at those food parks. They're sitting down together. They're eating. You know what I mean? Like, it's not supported in those other places. So you feel like you're out of, I wouldn't call it out of place, but like you feel like there's nothing to support that matrimony or whatever that you got. So you're almost doomed to failure almost because it's not valued. You know, that union of two people is not valued in those places. But Paraguay, yeah, I feel that's supported.
Yeah, no, you're right, and we're Catholic, dude. Like we're extremely Catholic. So maybe not us, like younger people, but our families are, or like
Yeah.
or society is like still structured around the church, like literally, So and again, like this is not like there are two metropolises here, Asuncion and Ciudad del Este. Okay, there I guess Encarnacion, but that's so far away. You're not going around destroying your reputation in this town, that town, this town, that town. Plus, this is not a highway nation either. Most people, most girls, are meeting their boyfriends a couple blocks away. Their first one, it's a high school crush, maybe a college crush if they go to college, and so that's usually the first, man. And like, there's a really good chance that even those families know about each other. Like, and another thing too, like when I've dated, like pretty much every single time, even if it's like even just more casual, they're telling their friends and families about me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And for the
100%.
better, for the better. They're like, oh, I met this guy Ryan, blah, 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 and he has a story and all this shit, and and then the sister will be like, oh, okay, well, I see he got you some flowers. Okay, oh, damn, okay, you should stay with him. That's a nice bouquet and all this shit. So but in America, there's so many things that are hidden. You know, like you could hide relationships for years and months. Or months and years. But here it's like if a girl likes you, she likes you, man. Now it might not always last, but it's a good feeling. Like and I think that it is good that they have those groups. Like a lot of that might a lot of Western guys might not be used to that. Like their girls telling like their homegirls or their family members about you. That's actually a good sign. It's actually a good sign of a healthy society and community. And everything's just like like in the states, like hookup culture is like all time like mega high. So like there's a good
Hmm.
chance like she didn't even tell her last couple of friends about anybody she's been with. But here it's like, it's old school, man. You go back in time. And this is like dating in the 80s or 90s. Uh
Oh
just
yeah.
with just with smartphones though. And that can kind of skew it, but because, our society is so close knit here, it's still a better experience, dude. It really is. And that's why like a lot of people may think like, oh Ryan, what the fuck are you talking about? I still don't see you with a long-term girlfriend or a wife yet. It's like, yeah, I know, but believe me, man, I wouldn't have a smile on my face if I didn't fucking mean this shit. You know what I mean? Because like it was really
Oh,
easy to tell.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you had many chances with. The thing is, it's not like like it's not first strike and then you score. You know, you got to go through a few people perhaps to see what's compatible to you. And where you're going in life too. But it's not always like, oh, it's first strike. Yeah, I just got to Paraguay, therefore I'm gonna get. I found my wife right away. Yeah, there's some people who are lucky like that. But in general, it's about getting the feel of the place and then getting to see what, and then knowing yourself too, because sometimes life happen to people where they just get anybody and then everything start happening that you don't even know who that person was, and then bam, issues, problems. So, but in the place of Paraguay, it permits you to take your time. Just it slows everything down. Like, you're gonna give a call, have a nice conversation with her. Like here, you can't do that. She won't even pick up your call like that. You know what I mean? But there, you can actually call. You can text on WhatsApp. You can send voice messages and things like that. And the little things matter, and then it builds up. And if it worked out, good. If it didn't work out, then yeah, it hurts because that you put some time and effort. It might took like, I don't know, 4 months or whatever, to get to the level where you're at, but it didn't work out. Yeah, it can hurt. But in general, you never feel a sense that like you got screwed over or you got taken advantage of or where it was actually heading. It was just a lot of time. I think for me, I mean, I haven't had so many in Paraguay, just one, right? But I feel like it's more of misunderstanding and maybe some of the issues like in Latin America that trickles down, which is a crab in the bucket mentality, which is if the family is not good or not supportive of the girl, or some of the girls too, they got toxic families that pull them down, then you have that issue where the relationship or what you're trying to build with her won't flourish because you're gonna have an auntie that jealous or the sister that jealous. Like in my case, I was finding a lot of jealousy from the mom and from the sister, and envy and jealousy. So if the girl herself don't have a good sense of who she is and like she could be pulled down by that family and it will
Yeah.
hurt you so bad and it's so unfair because they're so close net family, right? That it's almost like you don't expect that deception to come from within like that bad, where it's like they're not in your interest, right? In terms of the girl, like your family's not in your own interest. All they want to do is just see you down and at the level where they're at. When there's a golden opportunity in front of the person can't see it because mom got to approve it, the sister got to approve it, and things like that. And like it's a loss, and the whole family loses.
Yeah, yeah, and if they don't, yeah, I agree with you. And if, they may not have like the hots for you or whatever, but they may be jealous of the situation in general. Like, what? Like, damn, there's this American who likes you. What the fuck? Like, where's mine? Like, yeah, So I get that, man. I do. I understand that, and it could be something as stupid as like a bouquet of flowers. That's just like a really nice bouquet of flowers. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I've seen that, for sure. Um, but yeah, man, the women thing, like in general, though, guys who come here for just a couple of weeks, you're really throwing up the question mark.
I said Hail
Um,
Mary.
now, now, if you come here with a couple, yeah, now if you come here with a couple weeks, but you have every intention of getting residency and then living here, that's another story. That's
Yep.
you're still on a projection to actually live in the country, so you still have a
Yep.
fighting chance. But if you're like a common traveler, like, nah, don't even try to have something long term, man. Like, it's just not gonna work, dude.
Nah.
Especially not in these days, So, uh, you know, but yeah, the whole women thing, dude, it is complicated, but just take
And,
your
and,
time
and
with.
you always got to tell. My bad. You always got to tell them too. Now it's not to deceive them or anything like that. But Spanish, learning Spanish, you got that's a you got to do it. That's
Yeah,
one. Two. Um. Beside learning Spanish, you always got to tell them that you're planning to be there. You're not just a coming through vacation and going back. Me, I tell them straight up because that's exactly what I intend to do. Because the first trip I went, it wasn't even with the intention to meet the woman. 'Cause I didn't even know what they looked like. But it was with
yeah,
the intent of the good things I heard about Paraguay to have a place where I can go and live and have a hogar, as they say, right? Get a condo and start setting having as a second place to live until I'm able to make the full transition how Ryan did, right? And then live there fully. That's all I wanted to do. And yeah, the woman came as a consequence of that. But it's just to say, like, you got to tell them that this is what you're planning to do, so they don't get the idea that oh yeah, you're just here because if they get a hint that you're just there for vacation and then like maybe you'll come or maybe you might not come back, that relationship or whatever you're trying to do is as good as dead. I promise you that.
yeah,
Unless like she really also has the urge because remember if you Google how many Paraguayans are in the United States, the number will shock you. It's only 34,000, meaning they don't go nowhere. They stay in the country. Their country is comfortable with them. You know what I mean? So they don't have that itch or that urge to be like, oh, I gotta get out of here. The economy is too rough or that. Nah, they eat asado on Sunday and they don't have much. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's only 34,000 of them in the U.S., right? Maybe more in Spain, but still, they're the lowest out of all of Latin America that travel, that immigrate to other places. So you always keep that in mind. So you always got to tell the girl, because remember, like Ryan said, she's gonna go tell, right? Whatever you tell her, she's gonna go tell it to her people, right? And it's back to the basic society, right? So in my case, the mom was getting hints that I want to take her daughter to another country, right? Like, for example, and and her mom was worried because one time she did, because I asked, like, okay, in the future, right? If I'm not able to make it to Paraguay because it's far, because it's a long journey to get there, and it costs a lot of money. But if I'm not able to make it there, are you sometime willing to meet me in Panama, right? Or are you sometime, because there's a direct flight from Vegas to Panama in 6 hours. Paraguay to Panama is 5 hours. We can meet halfway. You know what I mean? Or we can meet in Bogota. We can meet somewhere, right? She went and told her mom that, because I asked her if she had a passport. She said no, she didn't. So she went and asked her mom how much her passport was. That right there was the downfall of my relationship. Because her mom took that as a, oh, he wants to take my daughter out of the country, and if something happened to her abroad, because I saw in the news that a Paraguayan girl was taken to Spain and then they took away her passport and they made her work as a prostitute. That right there, I wholeheartedly regret doing. I'm telling you, because that was the beginning of the downfall of my relationship.
Mm.
Because of this kind of backward thinking. I'm not thinking like I mean, I haven't shown a hint that I'm a killer. I wanted to meet them and all of that. In fact, I bought a couple of gifts. They're in my closet over there. A couple of gifts to take the family on the next trip and all of that and things like that. Asking them the taste for perfume, whatever. I'm a generous guy like that. But the downfall was mentioning that part that, oh, in case I don't make it another time, like, is it possible for you to meet me there? Man, I was getting
Mm.
backlash from the mom. So take that into consideration. There's some things that there's a no you don't do, but they don't go nowhere. If they go somewhere, they might go to Brazil or maybe go, inside of in the interior, right, to other small town, maybe where the grandpa's from, grandma's from, right? That's it, the pueblito. But they don't generally travel far. Maybe they might go to Buenos Aires. They got low money, but in general, they stay where they're from. So never mention that you want to take her and go somewhere or you got a plan for her to come to the US or anything like that. Don't do that until the relation is established. Yes, until the relation is established and set in stone. Because if you do that, you sabotage everything.
Yeah, after my residency trip, I fell for a girl, and then wanted her to come to the U.S. for a little bit before I made the permanent move. But it was just started fucking everything up, dude. The whole dynamic, and like, I should have never done that. But you live and you learn. But
Yeah,
yeah, I agree. Don't do that, man. And like, honestly, like most Paraguayan girls love Paraguay. They even if they say they want to leave, it's always temporary. They don't want to fuck with the U.S. Even if they don't know that they don't want, or even if they think they want to, they don't really want to, dude. The U.S. ain't no fucking place for these girls, and most of them can't speak English here. And yeah, and the U.S. is so goddamn ugly with this racism and shit right now, anyways, and ICE and all that shit. So it's just like, yeah, and maybe it's not the best move right now.
yeah,
So try to come
yeah,
here, man. And plus, it's like, what for what? Why would you as a guy want to go back to the U.S. and spend top dollar doing the same shit you were doing? Like, nah, man. Try to live here. But yeah,
yeah.
man.
They were not exposed to other cultures like that. I think that's the one thing about Paraguay that you like always remember in the back of your head, like everybody bypassed them. And remember, it was a country that was under dictatorship till 1992. Divorce wasn't abolished until 2015. So it's like it's a country where everybody bypassed. It's like the middle child where everybody bypassed, went to Argentina. You can ask any monkey over here. Oh, I'm going to Patagonia. You at the gate asking people questions or you having a conversation. They all going to Argentina because they're either going to Sao Paulo, Brazil, or they're going to Argentina. Oh, I'm going to Patagonia. I'm going here. I'm going to Chile. Oh, we're going to Andes. Nobody talks about they going to Paraguay. You understand what I'm saying? So the
Yeah.
Paraguayans themselves are not, they were not open to seeing the outside world like coming to them. And they themselves, their culture, they center around that because they do have a very strong foundation in regards to that with the whole Guarani and all of that, and just the whole people. They're just very centralized. It's a very, if you look at like on the map where Asuncion is located, it's very isolated, right? In terms of what else
Yeah.
is there. Because okay, yeah, you got Argentina across, but it's like there's no other big major city around. It's very, very isolated. And there's nothing
Yeah.
that influences them too much. So you gotta take that into
Yeah.
account. And so anything that's foreign, and then I think it's the latest generation that's kind of like more open to certain things because they're getting more on TikTok and this and that, and like I said, they don't have like the best phones, so it's like some of these apps even they don't even care for it, right? Like stay on Facebook the whole day or whatever. They don't even have that. Like they have an iPhone 7 with a cracked screen. Like what's the priority of being on TikTok the whole day? They don't have that. They'd rather talk to their friend or whatever it is. So they
Yeah.
literally is by default that they're not open to other worlds and other societies. So they don't know. So they can only trust what they see on TV. And if the mom saw that there was a girl like, that was kidnapped in Spain and they took away her passport by some dude over there when she got there and try to sell her on the street, she has a duty to tell her daughter don't do it because I
Yeah.
saw her on the
They
news
latch
yesterday
on.
and there's nothing.
Yeah, the people latch on really hard to what happens to other people personally. Like us in the states, we're so
Yeah,
desensitized to anything because
yeah.
nothing bothers us, right? Like there could be a mass shooting tomorrow that kills 25 people, and it's like okay, that's just Tuesday. But like here, it's like I remember even the first kid who died from COVID here in Paraguay. My sister was in tears, and I was like, that's a very different cultural national thing. Like
Oh
in the
yeah,
U.S., there's like I don't know, hundreds of thousands of kids who died from COVID, and not probably because they're not us in the U.S. Everybody's just like their own little tribe in the U.S. It's just we don't share that same empathy. But like if a Paraguayan girl, like you said, gets kidnapped in Spain or whatever, it's like they'll hold on to that story for the rest of the time. That's why like in Luque, everybody gives Luque a bad name here in Paraguay, a certain city here. It's because there's a lot of robberies that happened in the past, and it still sort of does, right? But if one thing happens in a neighborhood, they'll latch onto that shit for like the rest of the time and be like, "Oh, that's dangerous forever." It's like it happened 7+ years ago. It's a whole new neighborhood now. Oh, but it's still fucking dangerous. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
they'll hold on to those personal accounts. And like in the U.S., it's like yeah, some shit happened last week. Somebody got shot like down at the corner store or whatever. It's like yeah, whatever. It's just just Wednesday.
Yeah, we just move on to the next news. Yeah, just Wednesday in Chicago, whatever.
Yeah.
You're right.
Hell yeah. Even in
But
my
there is
city.
big deal, man.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a big deal. Like
Paraguayans
yeah, and
latch
I
on
watch
to
the news. Like I said,
individual
man.
accounts because they got more of an empathy and that's why even myself, man, like somebody, one guy came down here. It's like you really defend the women of your country. It's like yeah, dog, because we're fucking 7 million people. Or like
Yeah.
yes, I'll tell the truth, right? But at the same time, like yes, these are my people. These are my country women. Yes, I'm not related to every single one of them, obviously, but like that's the small country vibe. That's like me. Like I have a duty to protect my people too. Keep it 100, but at the same time, like not like do a fucking Redbeard rants fucking dumb shit and start like disowning and dishonoring our women and stuff. Like, well, what the hell was that,
I mean, that's facts. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like
People
like I
don't
said, I was
understand that.
watching the news a lot. I was watching
Yeah.
the news a lot, and I watch and I subscribe to all the news network within Paraguay to see what's going on there every day, and I could say at least a good 20% of the news, right? Okay, if maybe 7 to 10% of the news were robberies, I could say 20% of the news were like just chicks getting killed, right, by their dudes. It was always some type of twisted love story where they killed her and then they found the body somewhere. Then the whole neighborhood is like, I'm talking about not just the neighborhood, like even neighborhoods are like coming to see like what's going on in that place because it's
Yeah.
big news. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then the police is there. He's giving the report. It's like all the news networks are there, and it's a big deal compared to somewhere else where it's like, okay, you know what? Like after a few hours, they clean the blood, and then that's it. Like they got the evidence, whatever they need, and then you don't hear about it no more. There, nah, it's a big deal. Like they'll play it over and over and over, and then like they have follow up cases. The news does like these follow ups, man. 'Cause I watch a lot of these guys like they just do follow ups on the same story for it go for weeks about the
Yeah.
same thing, and then they catch the person, and it's a mess. Like you're like, damn. But it's ingrained in the mind of the people, and they also have an effect on how they perceive you. So like the mom, she never went abroad, so she can't tell her daughter is good over there. You know what I mean? If you go to Spain or if you go to if he takes you on vacation to Panama, it's gonna be good over there. All she has is that story of that correlation between what happened to that girl and her own daughter. That's all she could see. Like you're gonna die when you go over there. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man. Well, I think we're gonna wrap this up, man. It's been quite a long
Yep.
time, but man, I appreciate you hopping on here, and well, we could do this again for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime, man. Just let me know.
Yeah, yeah, but I appreciate all your insight on Paraguay. I know you're here for a few weeks, and you're coming right back and all that. And I know you're going to be here
Yep.
for the long term. That's your goal. But yeah,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be
yeah,
there. Actually, it's gonna be this month. I'm planning actually to extend my stay. Because I didn't get the return. I only got the one way going. So I'm hoping to extend the return for like I want to do close to 3 months to 3 weeks to a month this time. So that's what I plan on doing. So I'll update you on that, and then yeah, 'cause I definitely want to anchor myself there more. So
for sure. Yeah, man, for sure.
yep.
Well, shit. Yeah, we'll get up in person for sure. And yeah, yeah. So I guess like I don't know if you want to tie all this together. But what would be the last things that you say to about peace and prosperity, and life and all this shit?
So peace, prosperity has a what do you call it? Is how you define it. Like I said earlier in the video, Paraguay to me is like a place where everybody like kind of had enough, and then they just come there, right? You see, like for example, I went to shopping the Seoul. I saw this young German guy. You know, what I mean, like it was his first time. He just said, "Screw Germany," and he just came to look for himself. And we had a good conversation. He's like, "Oh, he's just trying to figure it out in Paraguay. He likes it so far. He loves it." You get a lot of like, I had enough of somewhere, therefore I'm coming to Paraguay. That's the vibe I got from a lot of foreigners, like from Brazilians even that I met, from other Europeans, even Americans, you know what I mean, that I met there. And so in terms of peace and prosperity, I think you could definitely find it there. Uh, it takes time for sure. And don't come empty handed. Like come with an idea, come with a contribution, right? Because it's a country that's opening their arms. It's like somebody inviting you to the house and say, "Hey, you know what? We got a room for you. Come." Right? And then the least you could do is like bring a bottle of wine or something. You know what I mean? Don't just like come and just extract the resources from there and just and do whatever you want to leave. Bring something. Bring an ID. Bring a business. Like there's definitely avenues for that. And then just leave your perception of everything that's in your head. Yeah, some things gonna piss you off. Like there's not enough traffic lights in the city, so traffic is kind of crisscross. There's no freeway that run directly in the city, so therefore it's a mess. Like leave some of the preconceived notion of what your expectations are about Paraguay, and then just come there as you are, right? And then come there with something to bring as well. And I think you feel more fulfilled than having an expectation going there and then they don't meet the expectation. And that's the part that's terrible. But peace and prosperity, you can find it in Paraguay with time and effort.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, good. Well said, man. Well said. Yeah, I guess just to close it out, I'd agree that peace and prosperity is pretty much self-defined, but there's the obvious, right? There's the getting your money right, getting your mind right, hopefully your environment right, hopefully down the line finding a good woman and all that. But man, I don't know, dude. At the same time, I bring this shit up all the time, but especially as guys, dude, like I don't know. There's a lot of guys who, yeah, they're checking off the boxes, but they have no meaning and no purpose whatsoever. They're good on paper, right? But they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off, man. And like, you
Yeah, it's
know,
true.
if there's something that you could leave behind on this planet, and then whatever country you're gonna end up in, and just something, anything decent, right? Like I'm gonna get hard on this motherfucker because I didn't like what he said, but like Red Beer rants, like he left Paraguay insulting the country. He leaves a lot of places insulting. Like he's gonna eventually go to his grave one day and be known as a fucking clown and an insulter, an inciter. So I'm like, man, go fuck yourself. Don't be like that motherfucker. Like try to be somebody decent. Try to be somebody like with a little bit of goddamn like ethics and somebody with some integrity, somebody. And there's ways to say things honestly, but there's ways to say things and leave a little bit of something good in this fucking world, man, because we ain't here forever. And I've unfortunately known a lot of dudes who passed way too early in life. You know what I mean? So you know, yeah. Okay, one last thing Aaron says is an important factor is safety and security. Yeah, some parts of Mexico are still very dangerous because of cartel violence and activity. Yeah, Brazil and Colombia can be dangerous too. Yeah, Paraguay's definitely has safety now and for the future, for the foreseeable future as well, to lay down your roots and all that. But yeah, man. Okay, I think I'm out, man. I think we're out. But then, thanks again for
All
joining me.
right.
Yeah, appreciate the
Yeah, it
super
was a
chat,
pleasure, man.
and
Yeah, and
yeah, we'll
hopefully you
get up
guys
and
learned a lot.
yeah, yeah, we'll stay in touch here, bro, and
Okay.
yeah, we'll get up, man. All right, peace out,
Peace.
everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Later.